Hello and welcome to Holocron Transmissions. I'm Patrick and this is...
Nick.
And today we are reviewing a new episode of Star Wars Rebels called Hogan's Heroes. Hera's Heroes today.
So this episode was really great. We got to revisit Rilo from the Clone Wars. It's a bit different than we usually see it, but we got to introduce some old characters and some new characters as well.
Yes, indeed. And I definitely think this was a better episode than last week's episode with Reg and Tilly's and
Yes.
Sabine. But let's go into the episode here, starting off with Hera's father getting chased by
The Scout Trooper.
scout troopers and whatnot on
And
their
this
speeder
was
bikes.
this was the first time we ever got to introduce to the Scout Trooper in Rebels, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so, and they did a good job with the scout trooper. I think they did mess up on his helmet visor there a bit. It doesn't look exactly like it should in the movie, but oh well, not that big of a deal. But I think they could have done a lot better with the helmet visor and the overall helmet look. It looks too I hate saying that, too cartoony, but what I mean though is they did a good job with the stormtrooper helmets and whatnot. It made it look like an actual plastic helmet or metal helmet, but here it just doesn't look right to me. This seems off. But basically though, all the scout troopers died besides this one here who chases after them, gets inside the ghost and gets knocked out, of course, by Ezra. So then they'd have a disguise,
And this was really great as well because, Seb goes, "Hey kid, do you have this helmet yet?" And then Ezra goes, "No." So basically, Ezra is collecting helmets along the way as you stormtroopers, comes along.
Yep. So
yeah.
now we move on to where Hera reunites to her father, which I forgot her father's name.
So did I, but it'll probably come back to us during the live stream.
Probably. But yeah, they rebond and whatnot, and Hera hears the news about her father, not her father, but her hometown, her home, her house, basically. Got taken over by the Empire and whatnot, and she wants to go back and get her category, I think it was called, or am I pronouncing that wrong?
I think you're pronouncing that right, so...
Yeah, but basically it's a family heirloom passed down generations. It was her mother's, and she wants to get it back. This is a personal mission for her and whatnot. By the end of it, she realizes she doesn't need it. It's like basically the message of this episode almost too was like, it's like you don't need things to remember people by. If
you just have to have the memory of like the good times.
Yeah, memory, keep in your heart and whatnot. And that's basically the whole message throughout this episode, which it's a corny message, but it's okay, at least so this doesn't feel like a filler episode, and we'll get to why it doesn't feel like a filler episode, because that is a filler episode premise right there. But we will go into why that's not here in a second. But basically, though, they talk over with Canon 2 here and whatnot, and they go get her category, of course.
But then Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, Thrawn, to me, in this episode was amazing. It just gives you the goosebumps, or goosebumps of what you're planning on seeing him in the near future. And, we saw we built Chopper's kind of like backstory on how he crash landed on Ryloth. Well, not really, but you kind of get the picture on how he crash landed.
We got the story almost, like a picture of it, of how Hera and Chopper met and whatnot and got to be the bond they have now. But this is the main reason why this episode is not a fair episode, is because of Grand Admiral Thrawn. This episode basically is like showing us how the connection, I guess you could say, or the relationship that Thrawn is going to have with the Gross Crew, starting out with Hera, but also too, it shows how great, it shows us more of Thrawn's character, it shows us about his art, it shows us how he plans things, because in this whole episode, he could have gone the Rebels, or at least Hera, at least, but instead, though, he sat there waiting and
To
basically
see to see how their plan's gonna work, to
how
see.
they work stuff out, how they do things. So then maybe later on he can use that against them as an advantage. But we'll
Mhm.
get into that a little bit later. So Hera wants into Thrawn, of course, and gets captured. And right off the bat, you learn how Thrawn uses art. He loves art, and he uses it, of course, to learn his enemies. Like, he knows that this was a rebel right off the bat. He knows who she was right off the bat because he studied their culture, their art, and whatnot, you know? And that just shows how great and how smart of a intelligent
Character.
character he is, but also too a general, a admiral, you know?
And
He
what's
is.
kind of freaky to me that we almost got like kind of a death or almost a death. To me, it felt like a death to me, but you can kind of see how he's planning stuff, how he's gonna get rebels, how he's gonna kill the rebels, and it's kind of freaky who his first kill is gonna be of the rebels crew. Is it gonna
Well,
be Hera or anyone else?
I don't think it's going to be Hera. I don't think. We don't know if he's going to kill anyone, but someone needs to die in this season, and most likely it's going to be Kanan. I'm sorry, I just still feel like Kanan's going to be the one that's going to die.
Or it could be Rex.
Or Rex, too. Yeah, Rex, definitely, but we'll get into that later. So basically now they're in the jail cell and whatnot, and he's talking about keeping her artifact and whatnot, and how she says, "Oh, I'm gonna burn it if I know it's gonna be in your hands," right? But we get our character moment here, and this is a great character moment because the person who he's with, the general, I'm guessing, was talking about how rubbish that art is and why do not destroy it and burn to the ground, and he gets pissed off. Thrawn gets mad and pissed off at this guy about how he's talking about art and how he's ridiculing it and basically bashing it. Because this show says right here that Thrawn has a great appreciation for art and culture. I mean, even through he's an enemy of other people and whatnot, he can still appreciate the art forms and the art pieces and work that goes into making stuff, and he feels like it's a insult to him if you insult the beautiful art that he likes or something that he thinks is real
Precious.
important. Yeah, important impressions. Like I said, he's an art collector almost, but he's not just he just doesn't collect art for pretty stuff. He collects it too to learn the cultures for his strategy plans as well. Like he said in the episode, to know enemy, you have to learn their culture, their art, and how they work. So this was a great character moment here.
And also, it's like kind of scary how the creators of Red Bulls are trying to make Thrawn this big badass character, and you're trying to get frightened of Thrawn, and all that stuff as well. So great character developed with Thrawn.
I mean, I do feel like I was a bit imitated by Thrawn here, like I was not scared, but it's like if I was in that situation, I would be. He was very. He got you. He got you in this episode. I feel like whoever, I don't know who's the actor portrays Thrawn, but whoever they got to play him, he does an amazing job. I feel like I give you that fear and that like chilliness. When he's on the screen, he has a great presence. I feel like.
Yeah.
So now we move on to the episode here and whatnot, and we're going into the exchange part where, because during when Hera was going into rescuing her artifact, the rest of the rebels were doing a distraction piece to get Hera into the home. But unfortunately, though, that didn't last long, and her father. The reason why it didn't last long is because Hera got captured. So to rescue Hera, her father would sacrifice himself, to save her daughter. And he said too that if I die, she can take the movement and bring Ralph back. Because remember, he is a freedom fighter, and he's one of the main idols of the freedom fighter movement of the planet. But basically,
Yes.
though, everything worked out, of course, and whatnot. They all escaped with Chopper's help and all of that. And the great thing, too, we're going with Fawn here again, is like the animals like saying, "Why did you not stop them?" and whatnot. And he says, they earned their victory, And
And
also,
he's
too,
learning how they all cooperate.
yes, definitely. This was a strategy. Well, this was not a strategy plan, but basically, though, it's like he used this opportunity to see how they work in person, So then he has the idea of what they are, what the ship is, and how they perform. Now, he's not going to get the full information from this one scene. It's just like this little nitpick, not nitpick, but just a little information for now to get more information. So then when he does maybe make his big strike in this season, it'll be a big impact.
Mm-hmm. And also, plus two, it's kind of a nice feeling as well to see how at the back there with Seb and Ishra as well, how they're kind of like still bonding and all that stuff. So
yeah, still bonding, still being great pals and whatnot. And this is where we got that message, you don't need artifacts to remember someone by, and we got like, this is my home, this is my family, I don't need a house or a artifact to be family, Basically that whole message of family, which is kind of corny and whatnot, but it works for this episode. And what makes this episode, like I said, not a filler is because of what we got with Thrawn and the character development with Hera a bit as well. No other characters got that much developed besides Hera and her father. Or that their characters were just there to be used as and I forgot, and Thrawn he got his character from it a bit. We got to learn more about him and his interests and whatnot, and how he reacts to stuff.
And also, we got kind of like a glimpse on when Hera started fighting in war, or how young she was when she started fighting.
Yeah, starting to find the Empire and whatnot, definitely. So overall, though, this is a real good episode. I won't say it's the best episode ever, but what makes it a real good episode still, like something I can watch over and over again, is definitely Thrawn. Thrawn steals the show in this episode. And because of that, I'm going to give this episode, I think, a 7.5 out of 10. It's a good episode. I won't say it's like, oh my god, amazing, but it is a good episode.
For me, I would probably give it a 10 out of 10. It was an amazing episode, and we got character development as well, so yeah.
Alright, so cool. That is our review of Hera's Heroes. I hope you enjoy it, and make sure if you want to see more, please comment and subscribe and be part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go, though, I want to talk about the sneak peek of the new episode of Rebels with Rex, because there's one scene I want to talk about. I really love this one scene here.
The battle droids.
Yeah, and it's so weird that the bad droids look so much more better. They look like they're actually from the actual films, from the prequel films, than the Clone Wars did. They actually got better at making the droids. So I can't wait to see this, though. This, I think, is going to be a fun episode. What about you?
Yeah, me too.
All right. So that is our whole review of the new Star Wars Rebels episode. Like I said, I hope you like it, and I hope you come back more for more of our Rebels reviews. We'll be reviewing this episode next week.
Saturday.
Either Saturday or Monday or Sunday. It all depends how it goes. So stay tuned to those days, and our review should be up by then, okay?
May the Force be with you always.